Good morning to all of you who are participating in the World Energy Week. I am Dr. Sergey Brylyov, President of the Global Energy Association in Moscow. I hope to see you tomorrow, Friday, during our Road to Congress session. But right now, I have with me the Chairman of the Management Board and Director General of the Rossetti, Pavel Livinsky, who, by the way, is a member of the Global Energy Association too, not just a partner of the World Energy Council. Добрый день, Павел Анатольевич.
Добрый день, Сергей.
As everyone has understood, we'll be speaking in Russian, so I'll switch into my native tongue from now on.
Pavel Anatolievich, my first question to you. How did consumer behavior change as a result of new technologies and, most importantly, energy transition? I can say that currently we are witnessing dramatic changes, not only in the power transmission industry. We're midway through this process, energy transition process. We're seeing changes in the consumer behavior patterns, and it's hard to say what the end model would look like, but some outlines of the new reality can be discerned now. First of all, the key trend is an increased role of the consumer. Consumer is becoming a fully fledged participant in the power transmission system. He's involved, and it takes the following forms. First of all, mobile services make it possible for him to choose tariff plans. Access to the electrical grid is simplified. He can operate as a prosumer, provider and consumer, not only consume but also generate electricity, feed it back into the grid. These changes affect everything from microgeneration on the basis of renewable energy sources to consumer services. Intellectual smart metering systems are very important. They allow for full integration of modern-day consumer into the power transmission system. There are new technologies at play, V2G, vehicle-to-grid, where electric vehicles with power storage units, they not only consume electricity but feed electricity back into the grid. This technology will be hugely successful in the near future, and the motorist, the owner of the car, can make money off of electricity rate differences at different times of the day when he charges his car and when he feeds electricity back into the grid when needed. As the infrastructure develops, as the number of connection points increases, this technology will become very successful. Next technology is blockchain settlement technology, which can simplify the payments for all the electricity. It can make them transparent, involving all power supply market participants. Should be mentioned that the key to future development is the electricity storage systems. They would change everything from consumer to generation. There won't be any need to build excessive capacities to meet the peak demand. Storage systems would take care of that. Storage unit, backup source. These are all elements of the new reality, which is right around the corner, and we're going to feel it soon. How are these developments affecting power grids? How is Rossetti responding to these challenges? All these developments, of course, are creating a new reality for us. Competition in this sector is getting tougher. We're seeing new competitors such as Shell, BP, Tesla. If we fail to follow the new trends, if we fail to respond to the new challenges, we will lose. What is our response? Back in 2017, we set course for digital transformation. I can say that that's a way. It's not only about automating processes. It's a systemic, sweeping change of the essence of processes, which on the basis of digital devices, and I will get back to them a bit later, to fully transform and streamline the processes and reduce the costs of infrastructure. All these technologies which I mentioned are related to transmission distribution of electricity. So everything related to our business. Digital transformation has four different elements. That is digital facilities, digital control systems, digital eco-environment for our employees, a digital electrician, we call them, and digital communications. So the first two, digital facility and digital control systems, are all about operations. And the goal of introducing these systems is to improve reliability of supply. We believe that it will have a positive effect on incident response time and will lead to a twofold reduction in the average duration and frequency of power supply outages. Since 2017, we've built 57 digital substations, 4 digital power grid districts, 14 control centers. Digital facilities are operated remotely. It communicates with a control center, and all chains are digitalized, so there's no analog signal. As an example, it reduces operating expenses by 30% and capex by 15% in a like-for-like comparison. Now on to the eco-environment for digital worker. These changes cannot be understated. First of all, we're talking about smart personal protection equipment that would lead to reduce occupational injuries manifold when we have objective controls for protective gear. We can see how well people are protected, how properly they're using their protective gear. And of course, this reduces non-work related expenditure of time by 20%. So this would lead to improved labor productivity. Also, remote training opportunities for our people, to introduce VR simulators in the VR environment. All these things are measures that make it possible to train our personnel well, that will change his workplace and expand his communications. A fourth area is digital communications. All those new technologies which we're introducing, mobile apps, internet portal. I can say, for example, in 2020, there were changes made to the grid connection procedures. We digitalized them completely. It's part of the digital transformation in terms of changing the approaches to digital communication. So these are the areas and their impacts on the current processes and transformation in Ross-City in response to the challenges we're faced with. Pavel Anatolievich, what technologies are the most important ones for the 10-year horizon? Again, I will speak on our behalf. That is transmission and distribution of power. We'll touch on some adjoining areas. First of all, as I mentioned, power storage systems that would change the logic of power transmission. Data storage systems, as we are introducing new devices storing more data, we need more data centers. And that's a separate area of our activities. We're using it for our own purposes and for commercial use. A huge area for development. Use of digital technologies and robotics during design and construction and of different facilities, including power grid facilities, smart cities, everything related to traffic lighting, smart buildings. It's a logical extension over the infrastructure that we have in place. Infrastructure for transition distribution of electricity to end consumers, because we can reach every consumer across all lines of economic activities. And lastly, Of course, it's about a search for new energy sources. A very promising area everybody's talking about, everybody's looking into, is probably it's of technology of the future, relates to the use of hydrogen. Also, speaking about our industry, we are studying such areas as superconductivity, ultra-high voltage transmission, as well as a very promising area, wireless power transmission. It has a huge potential. Pavel Anatolievich, many companies nowadays are venturing out of their traditional lines of business and are creating, as they call, ecosystems. What additional services, first of all, for the people, are you introducing now? I would like to point out two services we're developing actively. First of all, ecosystem for electric transport. We have already now 250 charging stations. By 2024, we're planning to install 1,000 additional charging stations. Of course, compared to Europe, California, it's not a lot, but for a country, that would be a strong incentive for the development of e-mobility. By 2024, we should equip 30 largest cities in Russia and 30 key highways leading to the most popular destinations in the country with charging stations. I can say that we are also actively involved in separate cities like Moscow. Until the end of 2020, we're planning to install additionally 53 supercharging stations, which are much more powerful than regular power stations, charging stations for passenger cars. It's a very promising area for us. It's a source of non-tariff revenues, which are, among other things, being used for the implementation of our digital transformation program. Outdoor lighting systems are very important. We are already working in 26 regions of the country to upgrade their lighting systems using modern-day technologies, diode, dimming, smart lighting, control systems, and others. Again, everything based on our grid management system. These are the areas where we are working actively today. Also, I already mentioned construction of data centers for commercial use and for our internal use. The goal, overarching goal, is to build up experience and expertise to the point which can take us abroad to international markets. We have everything for that. Pavel Anatolievich, an unpleasant but an urgent question. According to the data we're receiving, we are in the midst of the second wave, and there are apprehensions that it won't be the last one. What measures are you putting in place to sustain your operations, keep them afloat? Yes, it's a hugely important issue for us because we are working non-stop. The power supply industry cannot be locked down. So I think we did a very good job in addressing the challenge earlier this year. In April, May, we very quickly, when we were hit by the first wave of coronavirus, we moved our people to remote working. 70% of office personnel, 30% of operating personnel. We have a well-established system. Different shifts. We have redundant dispatcher teams, so a set of preventative measures, so everything to reduce the risk of infection of our people, of our personnel, and not to lose competencies. It should be mentioned that we have struck a very good balance between home-based and on-site work of our employees without adverse impact on labor productivity and competencies, while ensuring power supply continuity. It should be mentioned that as we are facing deterioration of the current situation with COVID-19, we're seeing an increase in the rate of infections. We're monitoring the situation. We set up a separate control center headed by myself in 80 regions of the country. We make individual decisions on whether to strengthen or ease measures depending on the health situation in individual regions. And it should be mentioned that exchange of international experience is very important in this regard. Earlier this year, we held an event, international event. We shared experience on combating COVID-19 with our counterparts from China, Japan, South Korea, and Italy. It met with so much enthusiasm that we agreed on set up a standing platform enabling heads of leading global grid companies to communicate with each other. Sharing experience is beneficial for everybody. It would lead to streamlined operations because we're all faced with this new reality, COVID-19 reality. It's something new, and sharing best practices is beneficial for all participants. Thank you, Pavel Anatolievich.
I must explain to everyone that we had with us Pavel Livinsky, who is chairman of the management board and president of Rosseti. And I'm looking forward to seeing all of you tomorrow during our Road to Congress session. See you soon. Thank you.